Hey everyone, ready to dive deep into the world of When Life Gives You Tangerines? Released on March 7, 2025, this film has sparked endless discussions, and today, we're uncovering every thrilling detail. If you enjoy this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us grow. And for more incredible movie explorations and hidden gems, subscribe to the channel. Now, let's unravel the magic behind this cinematic masterpiece. Released on March 7, 2025, When Life Gives You Tangerines captured hearts with its poetic storytelling and breathtaking visuals, swiftly becoming one of the most talked about romantic dramas in recent memory. At first glance, it may seem like another love story set against the backdrop of idyllic landscapes. But this film offers something far more profound, a reflection on time, love, and the way life's most important moments are shaped by the most unexpected twists and turns. From its carefully constructed narrative to its stellar performances, When Life Gives You Tangerines is an emotional roller coaster that pulls you in, not just with its romance, but with its exploration of the human condition. The movie opens with a cinematic sweep of Jeju Island, South Korea, a location so central to the story that it feels like a character in its own right. Known for its serene beauty and cultural significance, Jeju Island is more than just a setting. It is an anchor, a place where the lives of the two central characters, Oh Hae-sun, played by IU, and Won-suk, portrayed by Park Bo-gum, are intertwined with the changing seasons and shifting tides of their emotions. It's an island where every road, every sunset, and every gust of wind seems to carry the weight of the past and the promise of the future. The film is visually stunning, capturing the landscape's raw beauty in ways that reinforce the themes of growth, loss, and transformation. The plot begins by introducing us to Hae-sun and Won-suk as young adults, full of hope and the kind of naive love that makes everything feel possible. The pair initially seem to exist in their own bubble of youthful joy, their connection pure and untainted by the complications of life. However, as the story unfolds, the narrative delves deeper into the complexities of their relationship, illustrating how love changes, deepens, and, at times, is tested by life's most difficult challenges. What makes When Life Gives You Tangerines stand out from the sea of romantic dramas is its nuanced portrayal of love and life. It's not just about two people falling in love. It's about how love evolves through the years, tested by time, loss, and personal growth. The story doesn't shy away from showing the raw, messy parts of relationships. Instead of an idealized version of romance, the film offers something more authentic. There are moments of joy, but there are also heartbreaking decisions, moments of betrayal, and the kind of loss that can change a person forever. The beauty of the film lies in its ability to balance these heavy moments with tenderness and hope, creating a journey that is both emotionally devastating and ultimately redemptive. From the first tender scenes to the more dramatic confrontations that come later, every moment in When Life Gives You Tangerines is crafted with care. One of the film's most significant achievements is its ability to seamlessly move between different stages in Hae-sun and Won-suk's lives. The shifts between their youth and their middle-aged selves are not jarring. Instead, they feel like natural progressions. The characters grow, age, and face new challenges. But at the core, their love remains constant, even if it morphs into something different with time. The movie does not rely on typical flashbacks to tell its story. Instead, it allows time to be a character in itself, subtly reminding the audience that nothing lasts forever, yet love endures. The performances of IU and Park Bo-gum are a driving force behind the film's emotional impact. IU, known for her ability to convey vulnerability with a single glance, brings a quiet intensity to Hae-sun's character. She's someone who has been hurt by life, but her heart still beats for the love she's never quite let go of. Her portrayal of Hae-sun captures both the fragility and strength of a woman who has lived through so much and is still holding on to the hope that love is worth the struggle. Park Bo-gum, in turn, brings a depth to Won-suk, portraying him as a man who feels the weight of his decisions and the consequences of his actions. His performance is subtle yet impactful, capturing the internal conflict of a man who desperately wants to protect the woman he loves, but doesn't always know how. The chemistry between IU and Park Bo-gum is undeniable. There's a quiet, simmering intensity between them that builds throughout the film, making each scene they share together feel electric. Their relationship feels real, imperfect, messy, and yet utterly captivating. The film takes you on an emotional roller coaster, with moments of passionate love, painful conflict, and, ultimately, deep reconciliation. These performances are the beating heart of the film, making every twist and turn in the story feel personal. But the film's greatness extends beyond its performances. The direction and cinematography elevate the story to a level of artistry rarely seen in romantic dramas. Every shot feels meticulously crafted, from the soft, golden sunlight that bathes the characters in warmth to the sweeping shots of the island's rugged cliffs and serene beaches. The visuals complement the story perfectly, making the emotions of the characters feel more immediate, more visceral. The soundtrack, too, plays a vital role in enhancing the film's mood. From the haunting, melancholic melodies that underscore the film's more somber moments to the soaring, hopeful tracks that accompany the characters' moments of growth and triumph, the music works in harmony with the visuals to create an unforgettable experience. As the plot unfolds, the story introduces unexpected twists that keep the audience on their toes. Just when you think you know where the story is headed, the film throws in a curveball, a heartbreaking revelation, a difficult decision, a moment of betrayal. These twists don't feel forced. Instead, they serve to deepen the characters and their relationships, forcing them to confront their own fears, regrets, and desires. The unpredictability of the plot is one of the reasons the film became such a cultural phenomenon. It defies the typical tropes of romantic dramas, offering something more complex and layered. Viewers found themselves not only rooting for the central couple but also questioning their own relationships, their own ideas of love and commitment. But beyond the twists and turns of the plot, When Life Gives You Tangerines became a cultural touchstone because it explored themes that resonate with anyone who has ever loved and lost. The film isn't just about romantic love. It's about all the ways in which we are connected to each other, the ways in which our relationships shape who we are. It's about the passage of time and the inevitable changes it brings. And yet, despite everything that changes, there are parts of us that remain constant. It's about the small moments, the ones that seem insignificant at the time but turn out to be the ones that matter most. The film's ability to tap into universal themes made it a hit, not just in South Korea but around the world. The movie's impact has been far-reaching, with fans not only praising its rich emotional depth but also its authenticity. It's a film that encourages people to reflect on their own lives, their own relationships, and the passage of time. It doesn't offer easy answers or fairy tale endings, but it does provide something much more profound. A glimpse into what it means to truly love and to truly live. For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, When Life Gives You Tangerines is a film worth diving into. It's not just a love story. It's a meditation on the human experience, a film that stays with you long after the credits roll. With its incredible performances, stunning visuals, and a plot that will keep you hooked from start to finish. It's a movie that speaks to the heart and the soul. And for those who have seen it, there's always more to discover, more to unpack, more to explore. When Life Gives You Tangerines is one of those rare films that transcends the screen, leaving an imprint on everyone who watches it. It's a journey worth taking, and one you won't soon forget. ChatGPT said, "From the very first frame of When Life Gives You Tangerines, the viewer is transported to a world where love and time are not merely abstract concepts. They're forces that shape and mold the characters' lives in ways they cannot fully comprehend." Set against the beautiful, almost mythical backdrop of Jeju Island, South Korea, the film immerses you in a place where life is both simple and complex. The air is filled with a sense of serenity, but there's a looming tension that threatens to unravel everything. This contrast between calm and chaos is the perfect stage for the story of Oh Ae-sun, IU, and Yong Won-suk, Park Bo-gum, whose love story spans decades, each year adding weight to the choices they make and the paths they choose to follow. In the opening scenes, the camera sweeps over Jeju's picturesque landscape, offering glimpses of lush green fields, endless blue skies, and the gentle, rhythmic waves crashing against the island's shores. There's a sense of timelessness here, a feeling that everything is eternal. This is the world in which Hae-sun and Won-suk first meet, two souls unaware of how intertwined their fates will become. Hae-sun, a bright-eyed young woman, is full of life and optimism. She radiates warmth and kindness, yet beneath her smile, there's an unspoken sadness. Won-suk, on the other hand, is quieter, more reserved, a man shaped by hardship but still searching for something to anchor him. Their meeting is a slow burn, almost accidental at first, as their eyes meet in a small market on the island. Their connection is instant but subtle, almost as though the universe is nudging them together without either fully realizing it. The first half of the movie is marked by their growing connection, a relationship that blossoms against the backdrop of a simpler time. There's a purity to their early interactions, the kind that only young love can create. They're drawn to each other, but their connection is more than just romantic. It's built on shared moments of quiet companionship. The scenes between Hae-sun and Won-suk are tender, filled with longing glances and stolen moments. The kind of love that doesn't need to be spoken but is felt deeply in every gesture, every look. The chemistry between IU and Park Bo-gum is undeniable, their quiet performances creating an almost magnetic pull between the two characters. However, just as their love begins to bloom, the first cracks in their seemingly perfect relationship start to form. It's here that the film begins to delve deeper into the complexities of their characters. While Hae-sun is filled with a deep yearning for love and security, Won-suk is burdened by a past he's not ready to confront. His secrets start to seep into their budding relationship, creating a tension that neither of them is prepared for. He holds back, unsure of how to fully open up to Hae-sun, and it's this hesitation that sets the stage for the conflict to come. Won-suk's internal struggles become apparent as he pushes Hae-sun away in subtle ways, even as he desperately wants to keep her close. The early moments of their relationship are infused with an undercurrent of tension, as though something or someone is always standing in their way. Hae-sun, in her innocence, doesn't fully understand why Won-suk is so distant at times. She's puzzled by his moments of silence, the way he sometimes pulls away when she reaches out to him. Yet, her love for him only grows stronger, even as doubts begin to creep into her mind. There's a pivotal scene early on when Hae-sun confronts Won-suk about his behavior, asking him if he truly loves her. Won-suk's response is hesitant, his words carefully chosen. He tells her that he does love her, but something about his expression doesn't convince her or the audience. The scene is charged with tension, a turning point that foreshadows the emotional roller coaster the film will take the characters and the viewers on. As the first half of the film progresses, the complexities of their relationship become more apparent. Then he's letting on. She starts to uncover pieces of his past, fragments that hint at a life filled with pain and regret. But it's not just Won-suk's hidden past that threatens to tear them apart. It's the realities of the world they live in. The island, with its tight-knit community and old traditions, becomes a place where personal choices are often dictated by societal expectations. Hae-sun and Won-suk's love, though pure and passionate, is constantly tested by the world around them, a world that isn't always kind or understanding. There's a quiet moment in the film when the two are walking along the shore, their feet sinking into the wet sand. The scene is simple, but it's charged with emotion. Won-suk, who's often silent, opens up just a little bit, revealing a glimpse of the man he once was before life changed him. He talks about his family, the struggles he's faced, and the burdens he carries. It's a tender moment, one that feels like a confession, but there's still so much left unsaid. You can feel the weight of his secrets, the things he's not ready to share. It's in this moment that the audience realizes the true complexity of Won-suk's character. He's not just a man in love. He's a man wrestling with his past, trying to navigate a future that seems uncertain at best. As the first half of the movie unfolds, it becomes clear that love is not the only thing at stake. The island itself, with its deep-rooted traditions and unspoken rules, plays a crucial role in shaping the characters' destinies. The pressures of family, duty, and societal expectations weigh heavily on Hae-sun and Won-suk. There's a sense that their love is fragile, constantly at risk of being consumed by the forces beyond their control. And yet, despite the growing tension and the challenges they face, the connection between them never fully breaks. It only becomes more complicated, more layered, as they both grapple with their personal demons and the world around them. The turning point in the first half comes when Won-suk is forced to confront his past in a way he never expected. A secret he's been hiding for years comes to light, and it threatens to destroy everything he's built with Hae-joon. This revelation sets off a chain of events that will ultimately drive the couple apart, testing their love in ways they can't yet understand. The suspense builds as the audience waits for the inevitable moment when the truth will come crashing down. This is where the emotional stakes of the film are raised, and the tone shifts from quiet intimacy to a more urgent, heart-wrenching sense of drama. In the final scenes of the first half, the consequences of Won-suk's actions become apparent. Hae-joon, devastated by the truth, struggles to come to terms with the man she thought she knew. The emotional distance between them grows, and the tension between them is palpable. Yet, even as their relationship reaches a breaking point, there's a sense that this is not the end of their story. It's just the beginning of a much larger, more complicated journey. The first half of the film leaves you with a sense of anticipation, as you know that the twists and turns of their relationship are far from over. The first half of When Life Gives You Tangerines is a slow burn, filled with moments of quiet intensity and emotional vulnerability. The characters are complex, their motivations layered and nuanced. As the film delves deeper into their pasts, their secrets, and their fears, the tension between them escalates, keeping the audience on the edge of their seats. It's a masterclass in building suspense, in creating a love story that is as heartbreaking as it is beautiful. The first half sets the stage for the drama to come, and it leaves you craving more, wondering how far Hae-joon and Won-suk are willing to go for love, and what price they will have to pay in the end. As the second half of When Life Gives You Tangerines begins, the weight of the revelations from the first half hangs heavily over the characters. The suspense that has been simmering throughout the film finally explodes, driving the story into a new, emotionally charged direction. What once seemed like a simple love story now transforms into a complex exploration of trust, sacrifice, and the inescapable passage of time. With every twist and turn, the film deepens in complexity, challenging both the characters and the audience to confront the reality of life and love. The tension that has been building throughout the first half, especially between Hae-joon and Won-suk, reaches a boiling point. After the devastating revelation of Won-suk's past, the relationship between the two becomes strained to the point of breaking. Won-suk's long-held secret, which he had tried so desperately to protect, has come to light in a way that he never anticipated. It's not just the secret itself that causes the rift between them, but the way it forces Hae-joon to question everything she thought she knew about him. The man she loved, who she thought she understood deeply, now feels like a stranger. And Won-suk, who has spent so much time hiding his true self, now faces the consequences of his choices. His guilt is palpable, and his emotional isolation grows with every passing day. The first few scenes of the second half are marked by a palpable distance between the two. Hae-joon, struggling to process the betrayal and the hurt, withdraws into herself. She no longer looks at Won-suk with the same warmth, and the connection they once shared seems like a distant memory. Won-suk, in turn, is desperate to fix what he's broken, but his efforts to apologize and explain are met with resistance. The raw pain between them is undeniable, and it's clear that they are at a crossroads in their relationship. This emotional chasm creates an almost unbearable tension as both characters grapple with their emotions, their desires, and their inability to move forward. One of the most pivotal moments in the second half comes when Won-suk, unable to bear the weight of his guilt any longer, makes a bold decision to leave Jeju Island in an attempt to distance himself from the past and give Hae-joon the space she needs. This decision, though painful, marks a turning point in the narrative. Won-suk's departure is not just an escape from the island. It's an attempt to free both himself and Hae-joon from the emotional shackles of the past. He hopes that by leaving, he can give her the room to heal, to find her own peace without him constantly being a reminder of the betrayal. His departure is devastating, a moment of quiet heartbreak that marks the beginning of their separation. As Won-suk leaves Jeju, the film shifts its focus to Hae-sun's journey of self-discovery and healing. The emotional distance between the two forces her to confront her own emotions, her own fears, and the unresolved pain of their relationship. She begins to understand that her love for Won-suk is not just about him. It's about her own vulnerability and the way she has allowed herself to be shaped by their love. The absence of Won-suk forces Hae-sun to reflect on her own desires, her own needs, and the life she wants to build for herself, both with and without him. It's a painful, cathartic journey, one that sees Hae-sun slowly starting to reclaim her sense of identity. As she begins to heal, Hae-sun finds herself grappling with the idea of forgiveness. She doesn't know if she can ever truly forgive Won-suk for what he's done, but she knows that she can't keep living in the shadow of his mistakes. Her journey of self-healing is poignant and relatable, showcasing the difficulty of forgiving someone who has hurt you, but also the freedom that comes with choosing to move forward. The film explores the complex emotions surrounding forgiveness, how it doesn't erase the pain, but it can create space for growth and reconciliation. Meanwhile, Won-suk's journey away from Jeju is equally transformative. In his time away, he confronts the demons of his past head-on, trying to make peace with the mistakes he's made and the people he's hurt. His time away is marked by moments of self-reflection, as he comes to understand the true cost of his decisions, not just to his relationship with Hae-sun, but to his own sense of identity. The self-imposed exile that Won-suk endures is a metaphor for the emotional distance he feels, not only from Hae-sun but also from the man he once was. It's in this isolation that he begins to grasp the depth of his love for Hae-sun, realizing that he is willing to do anything to win her back. But can love truly heal the scars of betrayal, or will their past forever haunt them? As Won-suk grapples with his inner turmoil, the film takes a darker turn, bringing to light a more pressing issue that threatens to pull both Won-suk and Hae-sun back together. It's revealed that Won-suk's past is not only filled with personal mistakes, but that his family is involved in a larger, more complicated situation that has the potential to destroy everything he holds dear. This revelation, which is both shocking and devastating, introduces a new layer of complexity to the story. Won-suk's past, which had been personal and deeply private, now becomes something far more public and out of his control. His family's involvement in a conflict, one that stretches back many years, pulls him back into a world he thought he had left behind. This new threat forces Won-suk to return to Jeju, not just to reconcile with Hae-sun, but to face the consequences of his family's actions. The return to Jeju is a turning point for both characters. Won-suk's return is met with a mix of emotions: relief, anger, hope, and fear. Hae-sun, though still deeply hurt, is forced to confront the reality of their situation. Their love, once pure and uncomplicated, is now tangled in the web of Won-suk's past and the consequences of his choices. But despite everything that has happened, there's still a spark between them, a connection that refuses to be fully extinguished. As the film nears its climax, the emotional weight of their relationship reaches its peak. Won-suk makes a desperate, heartfelt plea to Hae-sun, asking for forgiveness and a second chance. He admits that he can't undo the past, but he is willing to do whatever it takes to prove that he is committed to her. The scene is charged with raw emotion, as both characters finally confront the pain they have caused each other and the love that still exists between them. It's a moment of reckoning, a realization that, while their love may never be perfect, it's worth fighting for. In the final moments of the film, the threads of the narrative come together in a powerful, poignant resolution. The major twists, the emotional highs and lows, and the intense conflict all lead to this moment of reconciliation. Won-suk and Hae-sun, though scarred by their past, find a way to move forward, not by erasing what has happened, but by accepting it as part of their shared history. The film doesn't offer a perfect ending. There's no fairy tale conclusion or sweeping resolution, but it does offer something more meaningful: a sense of understanding and a commitment to move forward, no matter what the future holds. The love between Won-suk and Hae-sun is not the same as it was in the beginning, but it has evolved into something deeper, more resilient. The film ends on a note of bittersweet hope, showing that even in the face of heartache and loss, love has the power to endure and transform. When Life Gives You Tangerines is a cinematic journey about love, forgiveness, and the way our pasts shape our futures. The second half of the film deepens the emotional stakes, turning a simple love story into a complex meditation on the complexities of relationships, the weight of secrets, and the possibility of redemption. Every twist and turn builds toward a resolution that is both satisfying and poignant, leaving the audience with a lingering sense of emotional resonance long after the credits roll. As the second half of When Life Gives You Tangerines unfolds, the emotional depth of the film becomes even more pronounced, and the characters' struggles and desires intensify. What was once a slow-burn love story transforms into a journey of heartache, self-realization, and ultimately, redemption. This section of the film dives deeper into the ramifications of the secrets that have been revealed and the emotional turmoil they cause, as both Hae-sun and Won-suk grapple with their personal demons and their fractured relationship. The film opens with the aftermath of Won-suk's departure from Jeju Island, his decision to leave a sign of his internal turmoil and his belief that distance might heal the wounds he's caused. Hae-sun, struggling to come to terms with Won-suk's abandonment and the unraveling of their love, is faced with an immense personal challenge. How does one heal from betrayal, especially when it comes from someone you love deeply? The initial tension between them lingers, but the film doesn't waste time in showing the impact of their separation. Hae-sun is left to deal with the void that Won-suk's absence has created. She spends her days wandering through Jeju, revisiting the places they once frequented together. These moments are heartbreaking, as she clings to the remnants of their shared history. Yet, there's also a quiet resolve that begins to grow within her. She starts to shift from being a passive participant in the drama of her life to an active force, making decisions that will ultimately define her path. The absence of Won-suk forces Hae-sun to reflect on her own identity and the love she thought she knew. The emotional turmoil she experiences is raw and unfiltered, and IU's performance in these scenes is captivating, capturing the anguish and vulnerability that define Hae-sun's internal journey. Won-suk's return to Jeju Island, however, is inevitable. His attempt to escape his past and move forward is short-lived. The world he's tried to distance himself from comes rushing back, dragging him into an even deeper spiral of guilt and regret. His family's involvement in a complicated situation begins to resurface, forcing him to confront a past he thought was long buried. The twist surrounding Won-suk's family deepens the narrative, adding another layer of conflict and complexity to his already fractured life. It's revealed that Won-suk's estranged father, a man whose actions have haunted Won-suk for years, is involved in a highly contentious business deal that threatens the future of the island's community. This revelation is shocking, and it adds a significant moral dilemma to Won-suk's internal struggle. He is not only dealing with the fallout from his personal relationships, but now has to contend with the legacy of his family's choices. As Won-suk struggles with this new, overwhelming pressure, Hae-sun is also pushed to the brink. The heartbreak of their separation and the secrets that have come to light weigh heavily on her. But she's no longer the same woman who was once swept up in the romance of their early love. In the absence of Won-suk, Hae-sun becomes more independent, more self-reliant. She takes on a more active role in the community, even becoming involved in the island's cultural traditions and local politics. It's through these experiences that Hae-sun begins to heal, and her growth throughout the second half is nothing short of inspiring. She's no longer defined solely by her love for Won-suk. She is becoming someone entirely new, someone stronger and more attuned to the world around her. This character transformation is one of the most poignant elements of the film, highlighting the complexity of personal growth and the power of resilience. However, despite Hae-sun's personal growth and the space that the two characters have taken from each other, the emotional pull between her and Won-suk never fully disappears. Won-suk's return to Jeju forces them both to confront the unresolved emotions that linger between them. The quiet tension between them is palpable, especially in their interactions. There are moments when they are together again, brief exchanges, the accidental brushing of hands, lingering glances, that show that their love, though fractured, has not been entirely extinguished. This push and pull between them forms the emotional core of the second half, creating a bittersweet tension that keeps the audience on the edge of their seats. One of the most heart-wrenching scenes occurs when Won-seok, in a desperate attempt to prove his commitment to Hae-sun, takes a chance and opens up about his past. He tells her the truth about his family's dealings and how they have influenced his decisions, both personal and professional. He explains the weight of the guilt he has carried, the constant pressure of his family's expectations, and how he has tried to escape them in order to be with her. The scene is a turning point for their relationship, as it marks the first time Won-seok truly exposes his vulnerabilities to Hae-sun. He asks for her forgiveness, not just for the mistakes he has made in their relationship, but for the burden of his past that has overshadowed everything they've shared. In this moment, the film does not offer an immediate resolution but rather shows the complexity of human emotion. Hae-sun listens to him, her heart torn between the love she still feels for him and the pain his actions have caused her. The scene is beautifully shot, with lingering close-ups of both characters as they speak the unsaid truths that have been left to fester for too long. The rawness of their emotions is felt deeply, and the audience is left wondering if reconciliation is even possible or if their wounds are too deep to heal. Just when it seems like their relationship may be at an impasse, another twist is introduced, further complicating their situation. Won-seok is forced to make a choice. He must either fully embrace the responsibilities of his family and the legacy of his father or cut ties with them once and for all in order to build a new life with Hae-sun. This decision becomes the final test of Won-seok's character. Will he continue to be defined by his family's influence, or will he break free and take control of his own destiny? The weight of this decision hangs heavy on him, and it forces him to make a painful realization. The man he once was no longer fits the person he wants to become. As Won-seok grapples with this choice, Hae-sun is faced with her own set of dilemmas. She has come to realize that the love she has for Won-seok is not the same as it once was, and while there is still a flicker of that early passion, it's now mingled with the scars of betrayal and the reality of their differences. The question she must answer is whether she can truly forgive Won-seok, and whether she is willing to risk her heart again, knowing the pain it may cause. Hae-sun's inner conflict is a beautiful reflection of the complexities of love and forgiveness, and her journey in the second half becomes as much about self-discovery as it is about love. In the final act, as the tension between the characters reaches its peak, they are forced to confront the central theme of the film: time. Time is both a healer and a destroyer. It shapes relationships, forces decisions, and ultimately defines the course of life. Both Hae-sun and Won-seok must learn to accept the choices they've made and understand that their love, though complicated, is worth fighting for. The resolution, however, is not a clean-cut, happily ever after scenario. Instead, it's a testament to the enduring power of love, even when it is marred by mistakes and missteps. There is no perfect ending, only a sense of understanding and mutual respect for the paths they have chosen. The film concludes on a poignant note, with both characters standing at the edge of the island, looking out over the sea that has witnessed their shared history. It's a quiet, reflective moment that underscores the film's central message. Love, much like life, is a journey filled with twists and turns, triumphs and heartbreaks. The ocean, vast and ever-changing, serves as a metaphor for their relationship, constantly shifting, never static, and always influenced by the forces around it. The ending, while bittersweet, is ultimately hopeful, suggesting that while love may never be perfect, it can be transformative, teaching us to embrace both the pain and the joy that comes with it. In the second half of When Life Gives You Tangerines, the narrative threads that have been carefully woven throughout the first half are brought together in a satisfying, emotionally charged conclusion. The twists, the revelations, and the emotional weight of the characters' decisions all work in harmony to create a powerful and resonant story about love, forgiveness, and the complexities of human relationships. The pacing, while at times slow and introspective, perfectly mirrors the characters' internal struggles, ensuring that the emotional payoff feels earned and deeply moving. The journey of Hae-sun and Won-seok is one of transformation, both personal and relational, and their story lingers long after the credits roll, leaving the audience to ponder the meaning of love, time, and the choices that define us. In When Life Gives You Tangerines, the depth and complexity of the characters drive the emotional resonance of the film. The performances, combined with the intricate writing, craft a world where every decision, every emotional turn, feels meaningful. The characters aren't mere vessels for the plot. They are the pulse of the story, each one adding layers of nuance that elevate the film into something unforgettable. As we delve into the motivations, transformations, and arcs of the key characters, we also find that their relationships with one another are as intricate and transformative as their personal journeys. At the heart of the film is Hae-joon, a woman whose journey is as much about self-discovery as it is about love. In the beginning, she is painted as someone who has had her fair share of personal struggles, but is still very much defined by her relationship with Won-suk. She's warm and caring, but also a little guarded, wearing her heart on her sleeve while hiding deeper fears about trust and vulnerability. The early scenes with Hae-joon, played by the brilliant IU, are filled with a quiet longing. She's in love with Won-suk, but she's also unsure if she can ever fully trust him. This underlying tension subtly simmers under the surface of every interaction they share. IU's portrayal of Hae-joon in these moments is mesmerizing. There's a quiet intensity to her gaze that speaks volumes about the inner conflict she's experiencing, even when her words might say something different. Her evolution throughout the film is nothing short of remarkable. As she uncovers the layers of Won-suk's past, her trust in him shatters. But what is so beautifully done in this film is the way Hae-joon doesn't simply stay stuck in that heartbreak. Instead, she uses it as a catalyst for growth. The absence of Won-suk in the latter half of the film creates a void, but it also creates space for Hae-joon to reclaim her own sense of identity. She becomes more than just the woman in love. She becomes a woman who knows her own worth, who begins to realize the power of her independence. As her character matures, we witness her slowly building her own life separate from the man she thought she would always be tethered to. This isn't an easy journey, and the film never takes the easy route by making Hae-joon's transformation feel quick or unrealistic. Instead, the emotional journey is one that feels earned, every step of the way, and IU's layered performance makes it all the more compelling. What makes Hae-joon's arc even more powerful is the fact that she never loses her ability to love. Her love for Won-suk is complex, at times full of anger and confusion, at times overflowing with the desire to heal what has been broken, but it never becomes completely tainted. As she wrestles with forgiveness, we see her grappling not just with Won-suk's mistakes, but with her own heart. The film is careful to show that forgiveness isn't something that happens overnight. It's a process, one that Hae-joon struggles with, but also one that ultimately allows her to move forward with a deeper understanding of herself. The emotional weight of her journey rests in her ability to balance the love she feels for Won-suk with the necessity of protecting herself from further hurt. On the other side of the emotional equation is Won-suk, the man whose secrets, mistakes, and emotional baggage threaten to destroy everything he holds dear. Played by the charismatic Jung Hae-in, Won-suk is initially presented as the perfect love interest. Kind, thoughtful, and deeply in love with Hae-joon. He's a man who has worked hard to build a life of honesty and integrity, but beneath the surface, he is haunted by a past he cannot escape. Won-suk's complexity lies in the way he is torn between the man he is trying to become and the man he was. At the heart of his arc is the crushing guilt he carries over his family's actions, a burden that has kept him from fully connecting with those he loves, especially Hae-joon. The performance from Jung Hae-in is rich and multifaceted, capturing Won-suk's vulnerability and emotional turmoil with great subtlety. Won-suk's journey is one of redemption, at least, that's what he hopes for. But he is forced to confront the truth about himself. Can he ever truly move forward, free from the chains of his past? Won-suk is not a man who makes decisions lightly. The weight of his actions, the consequences of the secrets he's kept, is always with him. His decision to leave Jeju Island in the second half of the film is a crucial moment in his arc. It's a heartbreaking choice, one made in an attempt to give Hae-joon the space to heal, but it's also an admission of his inability to fix what he's broken. This departure, while seen as a necessary escape from the mess he's created, also marks a pivotal moment of transformation. It's in his absence that Won-suk is forced to reflect on his mistakes and the deep flaws that have defined his life thus far. What's remarkable about Won-suk's arc is the way the film portrays his attempt at self-redemption not as a clear path forward but as a struggle, one that is not guaranteed to end in success. Young Hae-in captures the complexity of this inner turmoil with such grace that it makes Won-suk a deeply sympathetic character, even when his actions cause irreversible harm. The transformation of Won-suk is also mirrored by his relationship with his family, particularly his estranged father. The tension between them forms a pivotal subplot that complicates Won-suk's attempts to distance himself from his past. His father, a figure who has always loomed large over his life, is revealed to be connected to the financial and moral mess that Won-suk has been running from. The truth about Won-suk's father's influence on the island and the far-reaching consequences of his business dealings becomes a significant turning point in the film. It is through this conflict that Won-suk is forced to grapple with the idea of his own identity, of where he comes from, and what it means to break free from the expectations placed on him. While Hae-sun and Won-suk's arcs are the emotional backbone of When Life Gives You Tangerines, the supporting characters play a crucial role in both the plot and the overall thematic exploration of the film. The island of Jeju itself is more than just a setting. It is a living, breathing entity that represents the ties that bind people together. The island's residents, each with their own small story and deep-rooted connections to one another, create a sense of community that influences the actions of the protagonists. The people of Jeju serve as a reminder to Hae-sun and Won-suk that love, forgiveness, and personal growth are not just individual endeavors. They are shaped by the connections we share with others. One of the more poignant supporting characters is Hae-sun's mother, who acts as a silent observer of her daughter's emotional turmoil. While she may not be present in every scene, her presence is deeply felt, especially in the moments when Hae-sun is seeking guidance or trying to make sense of her fractured relationship with Won-suk. Her quiet wisdom and understanding of her daughter's needs are shown in the small, tender moments of their interactions. Hae-sun's mother represents the nurturing force of love, a contrast to the pain and betrayal that Hae-sun faces in her romantic life. Her character, though not the focus of the narrative, plays a crucial role in grounding Hae-sun's journey, reminding her of the importance of family and the strength that comes from accepting both the joy and the sorrow that life brings. Another supporting character who leaves a significant mark on the story is the local shopkeeper, an elderly woman who has seen the lives of many pass through her doors. The shopkeeper serves as a living archive of the island's history, offering wisdom and perspective on the relationship between Won-suk and Hae-sun. Through her, the film highlights the idea of memory, how the past, both personal and communal, is carried with us, shaping our futures in ways we often cannot control. Her interactions with Hae-sun are often understated but incredibly powerful, as she gently nudges Hae-sun toward understanding and forgiveness. The supporting characters aren't simply there to add texture to the story. They are integral to the central themes of love, loss, and growth. They serve as mirrors for the protagonists, reflecting the choices they make and providing crucial emotional support as they navigate the rocky terrain of their relationships. In When Life Gives You Tangerines, every character, whether central or supporting, is meticulously crafted and deeply human. Their motivations, struggles, and transformations are what give the film its emotional depth and complexity. From Hae-sun's self-discovery to Won-suk's journey toward redemption, the characters are more than just people on a screen. They are real, flawed, and unforgettable. Through the nuanced performances and the emotional resonance of their arcs, they elevate the film into something timeless. It is their journey, individual and collective, that makes When Life Gives You Tangerines a story worth remembering. In When Life Gives You Tangerines, the film's intricate storytelling extends beyond the surface-level plot. From the first frame to the last, there are a myriad of subtle references, callbacks, and cultural nuances that enrich the experience. These hidden details and Easter eggs act like secret whispers for the sharp-eyed viewer, rewarding them with a deeper understanding of the film's themes and characters. Yet, rather than feeling forced or out of place, these elements are seamlessly woven into the narrative, enhancing the emotional journey without overshadowing it. As we unravel these subtle intricacies, it becomes clear that the filmmakers crafted When Life Gives You Tangerines to be a story that rewards repeated viewings, offering new layers of meaning with every discovery. One of the first hidden elements that sets the tone for the entire film is the recurring motif of tangerines themselves. On the surface, they seem like a simple fruit, a symbol of the idyllic island life that Hae-sun and Won-suk experience at the beginning of their romance. However, as the story progresses, the tangerines begin to take on a much deeper significance. The fruit represents not only the sweetness of love, but also the bitter reality of life's inevitable challenges. The scene where Hae-sun first picks a tangerine from a tree is framed with the sun setting behind her, casting a warm glow. At first glance, it feels like a romantic moment. She's young, in love, and the world is hers. But as the narrative unfolds, the tangerine metaphor evolves. Later, when Won-suk leaves, the image of the tangerine reappears, now bruised and discarded on the ground. This subtle visual shift foreshadows the emotional unraveling that is to come. The fruit, which initially symbolized the sweetness of their love, has now come to represent the pain and loss that Hae-sun will experience. The recurrence of the tangerine in moments of emotional depth becomes a poetic reminder of how love can both nourish and wound. The island of Jeju itself is a character in its own right, and the way the filmmakers use it as a backdrop is masterful. Throughout the film, the natural beauty of the island is showcased in sweeping shots of its beaches, forests, and volcanic landscapes. But there is more to these landscapes than meets the eye. The location of Jeju, with its rich cultural history and natural symbolism, becomes a mirror for the characters' internal journeys. One of the most striking visual metaphors comes through the use of the island's volcanic craters. Early in the film, the camera lingers on shots of craters, vivid, powerful, and inescapable, suggesting the internal volcanic pressure of the characters. Won-suk, with his buried guilt, and Hae-sun, with her unresolved pain, are both like these craters, vulnerable to eruption. It's not until Won-suk returns and faces the remnants of his past that we see the craters again, this time representing the emotional fallout of his decisions. The island's landscape, marked by both destruction and growth, mirrors the emotional states of the characters, reinforcing the theme that growth often arises from pain, and that the past always leaves a mark, whether we want it to or not. One particularly clever Easter egg involves the subtle interplay between the soundtrack and the story's unfolding emotional beats. Throughout the film, the music serves as an invisible thread connecting the past with the present. One notable track, which first plays during Hae-sun and Won-suk's first meeting, is a song deeply rooted in Korean cultural history. The song itself is an old folk tune, commonly associated with longing and separation. When this song reappears later in the film, after their emotional fallout, it carries with it a deep sense of nostalgia, but also a melancholy that underscores their personal and relational breakdown. This is a brilliant piece of foreshadowing. The tune first marks the beginning of their love, and its return signals the end of their initial romance. The cyclical nature of the music reminds the audience that while some things may end, others may begin again in different forms, echoing the film's larger message about the impermanence of love and time. The camera work also provides many layers of hidden details. One subtle yet powerful technique is the use of reflection. Throughout the film, we see characters in mirrors or windows, subtly emphasizing the theme of self-reflection. Hae-sun's first encounter with Won-suk occurs while she is staring at her reflection in a window. The moment is brief, but it sets the stage for the way the film will explore her internal world. In the beginning, her reflection is clear and crisp, much like her initial perception of herself and her relationship with Won-suk. However, as the story progresses, we see her reflected in increasingly fragmented mirrors, symbolizing the unraveling of her sense of self as her relationship becomes more complicated. There's one particular scene where Hae-sun stands near a shattered mirror, her reflection fractured into multiple pieces. This visual moment represents the emotional disintegration she's experiencing as she confronts her pain, guilt, and uncertainty about her future. Similarly, Won-suk's reflection appears repeatedly in darkened glass, signaling the darker, hidden aspects of his character. his secrets and the guilt he harbors from his past. This visual foreshadowing is not just a clever stylistic choice, but also an emotional roadmap, guiding the audience through the characters' transformations. Another hidden detail that rewards attentive viewers is the subtle presence of the local community, which often appears in the background, influencing the story in ways that are easy to overlook at first. These townspeople are never merely extras. They represent the collective memory of Jeju, holding a space for the past, the present, and the future. In one early scene, Hae-sun and Won-suk walk through the village and pass by a woman selling handcrafted goods, items with intricate designs that are passed down through generations. The camera lingers on the woman's hands as she arranges her wares, and though the moment is fleeting, it subtly foreshadows the theme of legacy that runs throughout the film. Just as these handcrafted objects are created and preserved over time, so too are the emotions and memories of the characters, passed down, altered, but never forgotten. Later, when Hae-sun returns to the village after Won-suk's departure, we see the same woman once more, now weaving a new tapestry. This return, this continuous cycle of creation and reinvention, mirrors Hae-sun's journey toward healing and reinvention. It's a delicate touch that speaks to the passing of time and the inevitability of change, themes that are at the heart of the film. Of course, no film filled with such emotional resonance would be complete without clever callbacks to key moments earlier in the story. One of the most heart-wrenching callbacks occurs near the end of the film, when Won-suk is forced to confront his past in a moment of final reckoning. In this crucial scene, the camera mirrors a shot from earlier in the film, when Hae-sun first reached out to him. In both moments, Won-suk's eyes are filled with tears, but the difference is clear. This time, he is looking at his past, fully aware of the consequences of his choices, and finally accepting responsibility for the pain he's caused. This callback to an earlier, more hopeful moment in their relationship serves as a poignant reminder of how far they've come, but also of how much has been lost. The cyclical nature of this visual callback emphasizes the theme of time's unrelenting march, and the way moments of joy can so quickly turn into moments of regret. In addition to these subtle callbacks and visual metaphors, the film also includes several cultural references that are woven seamlessly into the narrative. One notable example is the traditional tea ceremony that plays a key role in one of the later scenes. This tea ceremony is not only a beautiful and serene moment, but also serves as a quiet metaphor for the emotional labor required in relationships. Just as the tea must be carefully prepared, steeped, and served with attention and care, so too must love be nurtured. The ceremony, which occurs after a particularly tense scene between Hae-sun and Won-suk, highlights their emotional distance, but also the fragile hope that remains. The ceremony is a cultural touchstone, but it also resonates universally, speaking to the effort and patience love demands, especially when it has been tested by time and hardship. As the film builds toward its conclusion, the final Easter egg is revealed in the very last shot, a return to the tangerine tree, now with fruits that have ripened fully. The symbolism of this moment is clear. After all the heartache, the growth, and the painful revelations, there is still potential for new beginnings. The tree, which once stood as a symbol of youth and innocence, now stands as a symbol of resilience and hope. The tangerines, once discarded, have returned to a state of renewal, suggesting that even the most broken relationships can heal, even if it takes time. In When Life Gives You Tangerines, every detail, whether it's a visual metaphor, a subtle cultural reference, or a clever callback, works in harmony to create a film that feels rich, layered, and alive with meaning. These hidden elements are not simply Easter eggs meant for the observant. They are integral to the film's exploration of love, loss, and the passage of time. Each discovery adds a new dimension to the story, encouraging the viewer to look deeper, to question, and to feel. The film, with its careful attention to detail, becomes a tapestry of emotion and meaning, where each thread, no matter how small, plays a role in creating the masterpiece. ChatGPT said, "Creating a film as emotionally layered and visually striking as When Life Gives You Tangerines was no small feat, while the final product captivates audiences with its perfect blend of intimate storytelling and sweeping visuals. The journey to bring this cinematic masterpiece to life was full of unexpected twists, challenging obstacles, and intriguing behind-the-scenes stories. From production struggles to unusual creative choices, and even moments of controversy, the making of this film was as much of an emotional roller coaster as the story it tells. One of the most fascinating aspects of When Life Gives You Tangerines is the unique and often challenging location filming process. Set on the idyllic island of Jeju, South Korea, the natural beauty of the place plays an integral role in the story. However, filming on the island was far from an easy task. The crew faced numerous challenges with the island's unpredictable weather patterns. Jeju, known for its strong winds and frequent rain showers, proved to be a constant adversary for the production team. In fact, there's one famous story from the set where the crew had planned a pivotal scene during the early days of production. A romantic walk along the shore with Hae-joon and Won-seok. They had arranged everything down to the smallest detail, ensuring that the lighting would reflect the warm, golden tones of the early morning sun. However, on the day of the shoot, the weather had other plans. A heavy storm rolled in unexpectedly, and the waves were so violent that the shoreline was completely unrecognizable. Rather than abandon the scene, the director made a bold decision to incorporate the wild weather into the shot. As a result, the sequence, which was meant to be peaceful and serene, became a breathtaking moment of chaos, with the couple walking against a backdrop of crashing waves and fierce winds. The intensity of the scene added an unexpected emotional weight, symbolizing the turbulent nature of their relationship. Interestingly, this moment, which was born out of necessity rather than design, ended up being one of the most memorable scenes in the film, showcasing how sometimes embracing the unexpected can lead to cinematic magic. The production also faced challenges when it came to working with the young tangerine trees featured in the movie. To visually represent the growth and transformation of the characters, the tangerine orchard played a significant role, but growing tangerines on a film schedule is no easy feat. The film's art department had to carefully plan the timing of the harvest, as the film's timeline spanned several seasons. The team went so far as to artificially age the tangerine trees for some scenes, allowing the trees to look fully mature and ready for harvest, while in others they had to wait months for the actual fruit to grow. This challenge, while difficult, was also a testament to the filmmaker's commitment to authenticity, ensuring that the visuals not only matched the story but helped drive its emotional themes. Yet, despite these challenges, one of the strangest behind-the-scenes stories comes from a more personal, almost serendipitous event involving the film's lead actress, IU. As Hae-joon, IU delivers a deeply emotional and transformative performance, but many fans don't realize just how closely her character mirrors her real-life journey. During the film's production, IU was experiencing her own personal period of growth. As a beloved pop idol and actress in Korea, IU had already achieved enormous fame by the time she took on the role of Hae-joon. But the complexity of the character, and the emotional depth she needed to bring to the role, coincided with a time in IU's life where she was going through her own period of self-discovery. In fact, IU admitted in interviews after the film's release that she found the process of playing Hae-joon to be unexpectedly cathartic. She often found herself reflecting on her own experiences of love, loss, and personal growth while portraying the character. During one particularly emotional scene where Hae-joon confronts Won-suk about his secrets, IU found herself so deeply immersed in the character's pain that she nearly lost herself in the moment. The tearful breakdown was so raw and unplanned that it caught even the crew off guard. The emotional authenticity of the performance was a product of IU's own personal experience at the time, blurring the lines between the character and the actress. Behind the scenes, the camaraderie between IU and her co-star, Jung Hae-in, was essential to the emotional chemistry that powers the film's central relationship. The two actors forged an incredibly close bond during filming, one that carried over into their performances. They spent months together in the remote corners of Jeju, living and working in close quarters. Off-screen, their bond was more like that of old friends than co-stars. One of the film's most powerful sequences features an impromptu conversation between Won-suk and Hae-joon late in the story, where they open up about their shared history and fractured love. This scene, despite being written as a heavy confrontation, is marked by an unexpected lightness and intimacy, a product of the genuine warmth and affection between the two actors. Some of the dialogue, in fact, was ad-libbed, with IU and Jung Hae-in riffing off each other's emotions in the heat of the moment, creating an incredibly authentic dynamic that feels raw and unpolished. On the production side, another strange and somewhat amusing story revolves around the film's set design. In particular, the design of the house where Won-suk and Hae-sun live was a source of both creative inspiration and logistical headache. The house itself was designed to embody the warmth and isolation of life on Jeju Island. Every piece of furniture, every object within the house was meticulously chosen to reflect the characters' personalities. But what many people don't realize is that the house's iconic tangerine tree, visible through the window in several key scenes, wasn't actually real. In fact, the filmmakers couldn't find an existing tree that perfectly matched their vision for the film, so they decided to create a fake one. The team spent weeks crafting the perfect artificial tree that would be placed just outside the window of the house, giving the impression that the tree was growing organically as part of their daily lives. The fact that the tree was so convincing that most viewers never questioned its authenticity speaks to the incredible skill of the production designers. It also added an extra layer of magic to the film, allowing the tangerine tree to symbolize both the growth of the characters and the challenges they face. Aside from the creative triumphs, there were also moments of controversy that surrounded the production. When Life Gives You Tangerines was released during a period of heightened sensitivity regarding the portrayal of mental health in media, several key moments in the film, particularly related to the emotional breakdowns of the main characters, sparked debates about the depiction of emotional distress and healing. Some viewers felt that the film romanticized mental health struggles, particularly when it came to Won-suk's character, whose emotional pain is often depicted as something to be fixed through love and self-realization. Others, however, praised the film for its honest portrayal of the complexities of human emotion and the difficulty of navigating trauma. The film's portrayal of forgiveness, too, sparked its own set of controversies. While some viewers appreciated the film's message of hope, that love can heal even the deepest wounds, others felt that it glossed over the complexity of forgiveness and redemption. Critics noted that Won-suk's character was ultimately forgiven by Hae-sun too quickly, without fully confronting the damage he caused. This sparked discussions about the film's handling of relationship dynamics and whether it set unrealistic expectations for real-world emotional healing. Yet, the film's creators stood by their decisions, arguing that the story wasn't about providing clear answers, but rather about offering a glimpse into the emotional messiness of life and love. In terms of production, one final, fascinating behind-the-scenes story revolves around the making of the iconic final scene. The closing shot, which features Hae-sun returning to the now-ripe tangerine tree, was one of the most challenging to film. The scene is filled with emotion and symbolism, representing both the end of one chapter and the beginning of another for the characters. However, the filmmakers faced significant challenges in capturing the perfect light and mood. The team had to wait for several weeks for the exact right conditions, with the sun positioned perfectly behind the tree. The team even timed the shot down to the second, knowing that the light would change rapidly. As the crew gathered on the edge of the tangerine orchard for what would be the final take, there was a tense, almost sacred air to the moment. When the director finally called action, everything seemed to fall into place. The lighting, the sound, and the actors' performances aligned in a way that felt almost destined. In that moment, the entire production team knew that they had captured something special, and the film's final shot became an unforgettable symbol of growth, renewal, and the enduring power of love. The making of When Life Gives You Tangerines was an epic journey filled with challenges, triumphs, and unexpected moments that transformed a story about loss and redemption into a cinematic journey worth remembering. From the unpredictable weather of Jeju Island to the personal growth of the cast, the film's behind-the-scenes journey is as rich and complex as the story it tells. The blend of artistry, authenticity, and controversy only adds to the allure of When Life Gives You Tangerines, making it a film that continues to captivate both audiences and filmmakers alike. When Life Gives You Tangerines is a cinematic journey that leaves a lasting emotional imprint on its audience. Beyond the beautiful landscapes and the intricate plot, it's the key moments, charged with emotional depth, visual symbolism, and thematic resonance, that elevate the film into something truly remarkable. These moments act as the emotional milestones of the story, shaping the film's core and driving its themes of love, loss, personal growth, and the passage of time. In this exploration, we will delve into some of the most impactful scenes of When Life Gives You Tangerines, analyzing what makes them unforgettable, how they tie into the overarching themes, and how the audience responds to the quiet power that unfolds within them. One of the first and most emotionally charged scenes in the film occurs when Hae-sun and Won-suk first meet. At this point in the story, the film introduces its central themes of fate and connection, setting the emotional tone for what is to come. The moment takes place on the island of Jeju, against the backdrop of its stunning natural beauty. The camera lingers on Hae-sun as she walks through the tangerine orchard, looking lost in thought. She's a character on the cusp of something new. Her life is about to take a significant turn, but she's still unsure of what direction to take. Then, as the scene unfolds, we see her meet Won-suk. At first, the encounter seems accidental, but there's something undeniably magnetic about the connection they share. Even in that brief moment, the audience feels the electric tension between them, as the natural chemistry between the two actors, IU and Jung Hae-in, radiates from the screen. The dialogue is sparse, but it's the quiet, shared looks, the unspoken understanding, and the soft smiles that communicate everything. The romanticism of this initial moment is amplified by the beauty of Jeju's landscape, but it's not just the visual grandeur that makes the scene stand out. It's the sense of possibility that lingers in the air. This first meeting holds the promise of something significant to come, and it's a moment that will stay with the audience, because it feels like the beginning of a great emotional journey. Yet, the film doesn't let this moment of magic linger in the same way. Soon after their meeting, Won-suk's past catches up to him, and this sets the stage for one of the more emotionally fraught scenes in the film. It's the first of many moments where Won-suk is forced to confront the impact of his past choices. One of the key scenes occurs when Hae-sun confronts him about his hidden past. This is the moment when the weight of Won-suk's secrets and the consequences of his actions are finally brought into the open. The camera captures the tension between the two characters in intimate close-ups, emphasizing the emotional rawness of the confrontation. This scene marks a turning point in their relationship. Until this point, their bond has been founded on attraction and shared moments of joy, but now the layers of complexity and emotional turmoil begin to surface. Won-suk, who has lived with guilt and shame for years, is now faced with the undeniable reality that his past has fractured his present. Hae-sun, in her anger and hurt, becomes the emotional anchor for the audience, as her pain speaks to the universal experience of being let down by someone you love. The power of the scene lies in how both characters are forced to reveal the parts of themselves they've kept hidden for so long. The rawness of this confrontation speaks volumes about the emotional depth of the film, and it's a moment that resonates long after the credits roll. The emotional depth of this confrontation is amplified by the cinematography, which is a character in itself. The framing of the scene, with Hae-sun and Won-suk positioned far apart from each other, emphasizes their emotional distance. The lighting is stark, casting long shadows across their faces, and the tense silence in the room adds to the heaviness of the moment. This scene, in its simplicity and emotional power, highlights the central conflict of the film, how love can be both a source of joy and immense pain. It also foreshadows the personal journeys each character will undertake, as they grapple with the past and attempt to move forward. One of the film's most stunningly crafted moments comes later in the story, during a scene where Hae-sun finds herself alone in the tangerine orchard. By now, the emotional turmoil of the earlier confrontations has taken its toll, and Hae-sun, weary from the weight of her own struggles, stands amidst the rows of tangerine trees. Here, the symbolism of the tangerines reaches its full expression. The orchard, which initially represented the sweetness and promise of love, has now become a symbol of both growth and decay. The once-ripe tangerines are now bruised and imperfect, mirroring Hae-sun's own emotional state. What makes this scene particularly powerful is the way the camera lingers on Hae-sun's quiet reflection. She doesn't speak a word, but the weight of the moment is felt in her body language, the way she touches the tangerine tree, the way her fingers graze the fruit, as if searching for meaning in the brokenness of the world around her. The soft sounds of the wind rustling through the branches, paired with the faint hum of the distant waves crashing against the shore, create a sense of stillness that allows the audience to feel the depth of her emotional exhaustion. It's a moment of vulnerability that strips the character down to her rawest self. This scene also marks a turning point for Hae-sun. It's here, in the quiet solitude of the orchard, that she begins to confront the pain of her relationship with Won-suk. The film's themes of healing and personal growth are encapsulated in this moment. Hae-sun's journey is not just about her relationship with Won-suk. It's about coming to terms with her own identity and finding peace in her own life, independent of anyone else. In this sense, the orchard is not just a physical location. It's a metaphor for her emotional growth. The act of picking the tangerines and walking away with them symbolizes her acceptance of both the beauty and imperfection of life. The pain that was once overwhelming has now become something she can carry with grace. As we move toward the final act of the film, one of the most climactic moments arrives during the scene where Won-suk returns to Jeju, attempting to reconcile with Hae-sun. The tension has been building for much of the film, as both characters have faced their personal demons and confronted the hurt they've caused one another. In this moment, Won-suk's return is not just about seeking forgiveness. It's about redemption. The audience is now well aware of the stakes. Can he make amends for the past? Can they rebuild the trust that was shattered? What makes this scene stand out is the way it beautifully intertwines visual symbolism with emotional catharsis. As Won-suk approaches the tangerine orchard once again, we see the same tangerine tree, now full of fruit, standing tall against the backdrop of the island's wild, majestic landscape. The camera slowly zooms in on the tree, a visual cue that emphasizes the connection between the tree and the character's emotional journeys. Just as the tree has weathered the seasons, so too have Hae-sun and Won-suk weathered their personal struggles. The fruit that once symbolized youthful love and hope has now come to represent the possibility of rebirth. When Won-suk finally approaches Hae-sun, there's an understated grace to the scene. The words they exchange are simple, but they carry the weight of everything that has come before. The filmmakers resist melodrama, allowing the emotions to speak through the actors' subtle performances. It's a scene built on silence, on shared glances, on the quiet understanding that both characters have changed, and that the possibility of healing exists. The resolution, while not perfect, feels earned. The camera lingers on the two of them walking side by side through the orchard, the weight of the past still hanging between them but no longer defining their future. It's a beautiful, bittersweet moment of closure, a recognition that while the past cannot be undone, the future is still theirs to shape. Ultimately, these key moments in When Life Gives You Tangerines create an experience that is not just a story unfolding on the screen, but an emotional journey that is deeply felt. Every scene is carefully constructed to tap into the universal themes of love, loss, and the complexities of personal transformation. Whether it's the raw confrontation between Hae-sun and Won-suk, the intimate moment of solitude in the orchard, or the tender reconciliation that follows, each of these moments contributes to a larger emotional narrative that stays with the audience long after the film ends. The power of the film lies not in grand gestures or dramatic plot twists, but in these quieter, more subtle moments, where the depth of the characters' emotional lives is laid bare. These key scenes form the backbone of the film, and it is through them that When Life Gives You Tangerines becomes a cinematic experience that resonates on a deeply personal level for every viewer. The production of When Life Gives You Tangerines was not just a technical undertaking, but an artistic journey where every decision, every shot, and every detail was carefully thought out to create a film that resonates emotionally and visually. From the moment the project was conceived, the filmmakers knew they were embarking on something truly unique, a blend of intimate storytelling and visual artistry that would push boundaries. What unfolded over the course of the production was a combination of creative ingenuity, technical innovation, and a few unexpected hurdles that would go on to define the film as one of the most visually stunning and narratively profound pieces of cinema in recent years. At the heart of the film's success is its distinctive use of landscape and natural elements. The decision to film on the picturesque island of Jeju, South Korea, was driven by more than just a desire for beautiful backdrops. Jeju was chosen because of its deep cultural and emotional significance, both for the story and the characters. The island is often seen as a place of spiritual renewal, an area that offers solace and transformation. In many ways, Jeju itself becomes a character in the film. Its lush tangerine orchards, jagged coastlines, and rolling hills a visual metaphor for the character's personal growth and emotional turbulence. But while the setting's beauty was undoubtedly captivating, it wasn't without its challenges. Jeju's weather, notorious for its volatility, became one of the biggest obstacles the crew faced. The island, with its frequent rainstorms, high winds, and dramatic shifts in climate, provided a real challenge in terms of filming continuity. A scene meant to be bathed in the soft glow of dawn could suddenly find itself under a deluge of torrential rain, which could derail hours of preparation. Rather than shy away from these unpredictable elements, the filmmakers decided to incorporate the volatile weather into the visual language of the film. In fact, one of the most memorable scenes in the film, where Hae-joon and Won-seok have an emotionally charged conversation by the ocean, was shot during a particularly fierce storm. The decision to continue filming in such harsh conditions led to one of the most striking visuals in the entire film, as the couple stands in the wind and rain, with the ocean crashing violently behind them. The scene, initially meant to be a peaceful moment of reconciliation, instead became a reflection of the turbulent nature of their relationship, adding an unexpected layer of intensity and realism. This unexpected embrace of nature's chaos was not just a fluke. It was a deliberate creative choice that added texture to the narrative. The ever-changing weather patterns became a powerful symbol of the characters' emotional journeys. The seasons and elements mirrored the internal battles they faced: turbulent storms when they fought their inner demons and soft, tranquil sunlight when they found moments of peace. It's a prime example of how the film's creators understood that sometimes the natural world can do more for a story than any artificial set or carefully curated shot. The technical aspects of the film also played a crucial role in bringing its emotional depth to life. The film's cinematography, led by the visionary DOP, director of photography, was designed with an eye for visual poetry. When Life Gives You Tangerines is often described as a film of contrasts, and this extends to the way it was shot. There's a deliberate balance between wide, sweeping landscape shots and intimate, close-up moments of emotional confrontation. The wide shots often emphasize the isolation of the characters against the vastness of the island, suggesting that while their internal struggles are profound, they are part of something larger: the cycle of nature, life, and love. In contrast, the close-ups, particularly in moments of vulnerability, put the audience squarely in the character's emotional sphere. Every tear, every subtle shift in expression, becomes amplified under the camera's gaze, inviting viewers to step into the personal worlds of Hae-joon and Won-seok. Perhaps one of the film's most groundbreaking technical achievements is its use of color and lighting to enhance the emotional narrative. The filmmakers worked closely with the costume designers and set decorators to ensure that every scene, every moment, was bathed in a color palette that underscored the emotional undercurrents at play. Early in the film, the colors are muted and earthy. Warm oranges, soft greens, and muted browns dominate the frame, reflecting the simplicity and hopefulness of Hae-joon's life before her emotional turmoil sets in. But as the story progresses, as the characters are forced to confront their own pain and struggles, the color palette shifts. Darker tones, deep blues, grays, and harsh reds begin to seep into the frame, marking the emotional complexity and growing tension between the characters. This shift in color is subtle but powerful, quietly mirroring the internal changes that the characters undergo. Lighting also played a crucial role in defining the film's atmosphere. The use of natural light was a major consideration for the filmmakers, as they wanted the characters to feel truly embedded in the world around them. They frequently shot during the golden hour, capturing the soft glow of sunset or sunrise, and used the shifting light to create a sense of warmth or coldness, depending on the emotional tone of the scene. One of the film's most iconic scenes takes place as the sun sets behind the tangerine orchard, casting the characters in a soft, ethereal light. The moment feels almost surreal, like the boundary between reality and fantasy has blurred, and the film becomes a meditation on the ephemeral nature of life and love. The natural light, combined with the landscape, creates a visual experience that is both immersive and symbolic. It's as if the world around the characters is in constant flux, reflecting their own journeys. The film's use of sound and music is another technical achievement that enhances its storytelling. The film's score, composed by the talented Han Jae-hee, was designed to echo the themes of the story, its gentle melodies reflecting the tenderness of the characters' emotions, while its more intense moments mirror the internal conflict and stormy relationships that arise. The film's sound design also leaned heavily into the natural sounds of Jeju itself, wind rustling through the tangerine trees, the soft crash of waves against the shore, the distant calls of birds. These ambient noises ground the film in its environment, creating a sense of realism that is vital to the immersive experience. The music, in contrast, often swells during moments of emotional catharsis, subtly guiding the audience through the highs and lows of the characters' emotional landscapes. This careful balance between diegetic and non-diegetic sound creates a layered sonic atmosphere that adds another layer of depth to the storytelling. But for all the technical sophistication of the film, there were still plenty of behind-the-scenes challenges that had to be overcome. One of the most difficult hurdles the production faced was the coordination of the multiple complex scenes involving the tangerine orchards. These scenes, which serve as both the literal and metaphorical setting for the characters' growth, were carefully choreographed to reflect the changing seasons and the passage of time. The filmmakers knew that capturing the lush beauty of the orchards in full bloom was crucial for conveying the emotional stakes of the narrative. Yet, Jeju's unpredictable weather and the realities of the filming schedule meant that the orchard scenes had to be planned with military precision. There were countless times when the crew would spend hours setting up for a perfect shot, only for a sudden rainstorm to ruin the whole day of work. On one particular occasion, the crew had to wait for weeks to get the right weather conditions for the final tangerine harvest scene, a moment that would serve as a powerful emotional turning point in the film. In the end, though, these challenges didn't dampen the film's impact. The dedication and perseverance of the crew ensured that each tangerine tree, each branch, and each individual fruit that appeared on screen felt as carefully tended to as the characters themselves. What audiences may not know is that the production team went through a painstaking process of planting, nurturing, and harvesting the tangerines in the orchard to ensure that they symbolized the growth and transformation of the characters. It wasn't just about a beautiful landscape. It was about using the orchard as a reflection of the human experience. In a more surprising turn of events, one of the most challenging aspects of production was the coordination of the film's key actors, particularly IU and Jung Hae-in. The filmmakers were conscious of the pressure placed on their leads to deliver emotionally charged performances, especially in scenes where they had to engage in intense confrontations. The chemistry between them, which felt so natural on screen, was the result of months of close collaboration off-screen. IU and Jung Hae-in, despite their busy schedules, made a conscious effort to spend time with each other between shooting days, to build a rapport and deepen their understanding of the characters' dynamics. During one particularly difficult scene where Ae-sun confronts Won-suk about his lies, IU and Jung Hae-in worked together to improvise moments of their dialogue, creating an emotionally raw and powerful exchange that felt utterly real. Their off-screen relationship is a testament to the power of collaboration in filmmaking. The actors' commitment to bringing their characters to life was reflected in every scene. The production of When Life Gives You Tangerines was marked by both creative triumphs and unanticipated challenges. From the unpredictable weather of Jeju Island to the technical innovations in cinematography and sound design, every aspect of the film came together to create an experience that was visually stunning and emotionally resonant. The journey to bring the story to life wasn't easy, but it was a reflection of the film's themes of growth, transformation, and resilience. In the end, it's the film's dedication to authenticity, both in its visual storytelling and in its emotional depth, that makes it an unforgettable cinematic achievement. When Life Gives You Tangerines is more than just a film about love, loss, and personal growth. At its heart, it's a meditation on the complex relationships we have with ourselves, others, and the world around us. The movie's beauty lies not only in its emotional depth and stunning visuals, but also in how it masterfully weaves together themes of healing, redemption, and the interconnectedness of life. As we journey with Hae-sun and Won-suk through the labyrinth of their pasts, their current struggles, and the unpredictable force of nature, the film invites us to reflect on our own lives and the ways in which our personal stories intertwine with the greater narrative of society, culture, and the human condition. One of the film's most prominent themes is the idea of personal transformation, the understanding that life's most challenging experiences often serve as the catalysts for growth. This theme is immediately introduced through the setting, the island of Jeju, a place known for its transformative, almost spiritual qualities. Jeju is not just a physical landscape, but a symbolic space for the characters to confront their past and chart their future. The tangerine orchard, specifically, serves as a powerful metaphor for both the possibility of healing and the harsh realities of life. Tangerines, with their tender sweetness, are symbolic of the potential for joy and renewal, but they are also fragile and easily bruised. As the characters move through the orchard, both physically and emotionally, the film suggests that personal growth often comes with pain and imperfection. This idea of transformation is mirrored in the journey of both Hae-sun and Won-suk, who find themselves at crossroads in their lives, struggling to reconcile their past mistakes with their desire to move forward. Hae-sun, at the beginning of the film, is portrayed as someone who has lived through a great deal of emotional hardship, abandonment, betrayal, and grief. Her personal transformation is triggered when she moves back to Jeju, seeking solace and a fresh start. But as the story progresses, we come to see that her quest for healing is not a simple or linear path. The emotional scars she carries are deep, and she must confront them in order to fully heal. The tangerine orchard, in many ways, symbolizes the emotional labor of this process, tending to a wound, nurturing it, and waiting patiently for growth to occur, even when the process feels painful and uncertain. Similarly, Won-suk's character arc revolves around his own journey of redemption. He, too, is a person haunted by his past actions and mistakes. His life is built on secrets, some that he's tried to bury, others that he believes will define him if they come to light. Won-suk's transformation, like Hae-sun's, requires him to face the harsh realities of his past, to confront the people he's hurt, and to learn that redemption is not just about asking for forgiveness, but earning it through action and vulnerability. His return to Jeju, after years of self-imposed exile, is symbolic of his willingness to return to the emotional roots of his life and confront the unresolved tensions that have shaped him. The tension in their relationship, initially filled with bitterness and anger, becomes the soil from which both characters can grow. In the end, it's only through acknowledging their flaws and opening themselves up to change that they are able to find peace. These themes of healing and redemption are further explored through the symbolic presence of the orchard itself. From the beginning of the film, the orchard is presented as a place of beauty and growth, but it is also a place of labor and care. The characters spend hours among the trees, carefully tending to the tangerines, nurturing them so that they will ripen and bear fruit. This process of cultivation mirrors the emotional work that both Hae-sun and Won-suk must do in order to find redemption. Their journey through the orchard is a reflection of their internal emotional landscapes. At times, the trees are lush and full, representing moments of clarity and understanding. At other times, the trees are bare, mirroring the emptiness and loneliness they both feel. The symbolism is clear. Growth and healing are not always immediate or easy, and sometimes, the process involves confronting the pain that lies underneath the surface. But perhaps the most poignant symbolism in the film lies in the juxtaposition of imperfection and acceptance. Both Hae-sun and Won-suk are characters defined by their flaws, and yet it is through accepting these imperfections that they find peace. This theme is visually represented in the recurring image of the tangerines, fruits that are sweet but easily bruised, vulnerable to external forces. In one of the film's most striking moments, Hae-sun picks a tangerine from the tree and examines it closely. The fruit is imperfect, dimpled and scarred, but she doesn't discard it. Instead, she gently wipes away the dirt, accepting it as it is. This moment speaks to a larger theme in the film. The idea that love and life itself is not about perfection, but about learning to accept the imperfections and finding beauty within them. This theme is particularly resonant in a society where perfection is often idolized, and the acceptance of one's flaws is a difficult, yet vital, process. The theme of identity also plays a significant role in the narrative, particularly in terms of how personal and cultural identities shape our interactions with others. Both Yi-sun and Won-suk struggle with their individual identities as they grapple with their pasts. Won-suk, in particular, is a character who has spent much of his life attempting to hide his true self, attempting to fit into a mold that he believes will make him acceptable to others. His self-imposed exile to Jeju is a direct result of this internal conflict. He's trying to escape his past while simultaneously running from who he is. Yi-sun, too, faces her own struggles with identity. Her return to Jeju is, in part, an attempt to rediscover who she is beyond the roles that others have placed on her. She wants to find herself again, not as a daughter, a lover, or a friend, but as an individual. This struggle with identity, especially in the context of a society that often defines people based on their relationships or roles, is a poignant reflection of the real-world pressures people face in trying to carve out their own place in the world. Beyond personal identity, the film also explores societal pressures, how the expectations of family, community, and culture shape the characters' choices. This theme is particularly relevant to the film's setting, which is steeped in the traditions of Jeju Island. The island is known for its deep-rooted cultural history, and much of the narrative revolves around the ways in which Yi-sun and Won-suk's lives are influenced by the expectations of their families and their community. The tangerine orchard itself is a symbol of these pressures. For Yi-sun, it represents the weight of her family's legacy, the burden of their unspoken expectations, and the emotional labor of maintaining the land. For Won-suk, the orchard is a reminder of his family's place in the community, and the shame he feels about his past failures. These societal pressures, both external and internal, play a critical role in shaping the decisions the characters make. In many ways, the film is a reflection of the ways in which societal expectations can suffocate individuality, and the liberation that comes when one decides to break free from these confines. At its core, When Life Gives You Tangerines is also a reflection on the cyclical nature of life, how moments of beauty and pain are interwoven, and how growth often emerges from struggle. The film makes a poignant statement about the necessity of embracing both the good and the bad, the sweet and the bitter, in life's journey. The metaphor of the tangerine orchard, where new fruit grows from the roots of the old trees, is an image that runs throughout the film, reminding the characters and the audience that life is a process of renewal and reawakening. The changing seasons of Jeju mirror the changing seasons of human life. Times of abundance, times of loss, and the slow, steady work of personal transformation that takes place in between. The film doesn't shy away from the complexities of these emotions, instead choosing to embrace them with a deep, honest sincerity. It encourages us to acknowledge our flaws, to face our pain, and to believe in the possibility of redemption and growth. It speaks to the universal human experience of striving for something better, even when the road is uncertain and filled with obstacles. In this way, When Life Gives You Tangerines is not just a love story, it's a reflection of the resilience of the human spirit, the intricacies of identity, and the ways in which personal and societal forces shape the lives we lead. Through its rich symbolism and its exploration of themes like redemption, personal growth, and cultural pressures, the film offers a poignant commentary on the journey of life itself, imperfect, but filled with the potential for renewal and transformation. In When Life Gives You Tangerines, the visual storytelling is not just a tool for presenting the narrative. It is an integral part of the film's emotional depth and thematic exploration. Every frame is meticulously crafted to communicate the internal landscapes of the characters, the nuances of their relationships, and the natural world that surrounds them. The director, in collaboration with the cinematographer and the entire creative team, uses the visual medium not only to enhance the plot, but also to infuse it with layers of meaning that resonate long after the credits roll. The way the story is told visually, through composition, color, light, and sound, shapes the entire audience experience, allowing the film to transcend traditional storytelling and become an immersive emotional journey. The cinematography of When Life Gives You Tangerines is one of its most striking features. blending sweeping vistas with intimate moments that draw the audience into the emotional world of the characters. The film takes full advantage of its stunning Jeju Island location, with its lush tangerine orchards, rugged coastlines, and dramatic mountains. These natural elements are more than just beautiful backdrops. They are metaphors for the characters' emotional journeys and the themes of growth, isolation, and connection. From the very first frame, the camera invites the audience into this world, often framing the characters against the vastness of nature to underscore their isolation or inner turmoil. One of the most notable techniques used in the cinematography is the juxtaposition of wide-angle shots and close-ups. Early in the film, the wide shots of the island's sprawling landscape emphasize the characters' sense of being small in the face of life's challenges. The tangerine orchards, with their endless rows of trees, symbolize both the complexity of life and the emotional weight the characters carry. These shots are often filled with golden light, highlighting the beauty of the setting. Yet there is an underlying sense of melancholy in their vastness, as if the characters are adrift in a world that is both beautiful and indifferent to their struggles. As the story progresses and the characters begin to confront their internal conflicts, the cinematography shifts toward more intimate close-up shots. These close-ups allow the audience to see the subtleties of the characters' emotions, the trembling of a hand, a flicker of doubt in their eyes, a tear slowly making its way down a cheek. In these moments, the camera becomes almost a silent observer, capturing every nuance of the characters' expressions as they grapple with their feelings. This transition from wide to close emphasizes the emotional journey of the characters, from the external struggles that define their world to the internal battles that shape their decisions and relationships. The color palette of the film is another key component of its visual storytelling. Early in the narrative, the film is bathed in warm, earthy tones. The soft oranges of the tangerines, the muted greens of the island's lush foliage, and the golden hues of the sun-drenched fields. These colors evoke a sense of warmth, hope, and renewal, aligning with the characters' initial attempts at healing and starting over. However, as the emotional complexity of the story deepens, the color scheme begins to shift. Darker shades of blue and gray gradually creep into the frames, mirroring the characters' growing emotional tension. These changes in color reflect the changing emotional tones of the story. Hopefulness gives way to conflict, and the warmth of new beginnings is replaced by the coolness of confrontation and personal reckoning. The colors in the film are not just symbolic. They also create a sense of visual rhythm that matches the pacing of the story. In moments of quiet reflection or emotional intimacy, the colors are soft and subdued, enveloping the characters in an atmosphere of calm. But when the story reaches a point of crisis, when Hae-joon and Won-suk confront the deepest truths about themselves and each other, the colors become sharper, more intense, and more saturated. This visual tension heightens the emotional stakes of these moments, drawing the audience further into the psychological drama unfolding on screen. In addition to color, lighting plays a central role in the film's emotional tone. The use of natural light is one of the most significant stylistic choices in the film, underscoring the themes of connection to the land and the cycles of life. The filmmakers often take advantage of the golden hour, the time just before sunset or after sunrise when the light is soft and warm, to film key moments of reflection or change. The warm, diffused light creates an ethereal atmosphere, highlighting the character's vulnerability and tenderness during moments of emotional intimacy. In contrast, during the film's more tense or dramatic moments, the lighting becomes harsher and more contrast-driven, with deep shadows and sharp highlights that reflect the growing emotional and psychological conflict. One of the most visually striking sequences occurs during a climactic scene on the edge of the cliffs overlooking the ocean. The lighting here is intentionally stark, with strong contrasts between light and dark that mirror the emotional weight of the moment. The characters stand against the turbulent backdrop of the sea, their figures silhouetted by the harsh, slanted sunlight. This imagery evokes the feeling of standing on the precipice of change, of facing the unknown, and reinforces the idea that their personal transformations are as inevitable and uncontrollable as the crashing waves below. Beyond the cinematography, the editing of When Life Gives You Tangerines is another key element in its visual storytelling. The film uses fluid transitions and long takes to create a sense of continuity, reinforcing the idea of time passing slowly, much like the characters' emotional journeys. The pacing, while measured, never feels sluggish. Instead, it allows the audience to sit with the characters, to feel their pain, joy, and confusion without being rushed through the story. This patient, deliberate pacing invites us to become immersed in the characters' emotional worlds and to reflect on their experiences. A particularly effective technique is the use of cross-cutting to juxtapose moments of emotional reflection with key moments of action or dialogue. For instance, during scenes of personal confrontation between Hae-joon and Won-suk, the film often cuts back and forth between close-ups of their faces and wide shots of the natural world around them. This creates a visual tension between the characters' inner worlds and the external world, suggesting that their struggles are part of a larger, universal human experience. The editing emphasizes the idea that, no matter how deeply personal their conflicts may feel, they are intrinsically connected to the rhythms and cycles of nature. The sound design of When Life Gives You Tangerines is equally important in shaping the mood and tone of the film. The sound design is carefully crafted to complement the visual storytelling, using subtle ambient noises and atmospheric soundscapes to heighten the emotional impact of the scenes. The sounds of nature, the rustling of leaves in the tangerine orchards, the crash of waves against the rocky shoreline, the chirping of birds, are omnipresent throughout the film. These natural sounds serve as a constant reminder of the environment in which the characters live and the ways in which they are shaped by it. They also underscore the themes of interconnectedness, grounding the characters' personal struggles within the broader context of the natural world. The film's score, composed by Han Jae-hee, is another integral part of the sound design. The music is intimate and haunting, using minimalistic motifs and orchestral swells to reflect the characters' emotional states. In moments of quiet introspection, the music is sparse, with gentle piano or strings that evoke a sense of longing or sadness. During more intense moments of confrontation or catharsis, the score builds, swelling to a crescendo that mirrors the emotional climax of the scene. The music is never overwhelming but works in harmony with the visuals, heightening the emotional resonance of key moments without ever overpowering them. What makes When Life Gives You Tangerines truly remarkable, however, is its broader cultural significance. Beyond the screen, the film has sparked a conversation about healing, personal growth, and the complexities of relationships. Its themes have transcended national boundaries, touching audiences across the globe. People have turned to this film not just for entertainment, but for inspiration, finding in the story of Hae-joon and Won-suk an emotional mirror to their own lives. The way the characters grapple with their pasts, face their fears, and strive for a better future resonates universally, making the movie an enduring piece of art that speaks to the human condition. The film's impact on the romantic drama genre cannot be overstated. In a genre often dominated by overly idealized portrayals of love, When Life Gives You Tangerines offers a refreshing departure. It reminds us that love is not a quick fix, nor is it perfect. Love is a journey, a process of growth and healing that doesn't always follow a linear path. In this way, the film represents a new era of storytelling, one that prioritizes authenticity over idealization and seeks to explore the complexities of human relationships with honesty and depth. The film is not just a romantic tale but a poignant meditation on the power of healing, the strength it takes to face one's past, and the delicate process of reconciling the two. The emotional and thematic richness of the film has left an indelible mark on the way films explore relationships. Directors and writers are now more likely to consider the inner lives of their characters and the psychological and emotional burdens they carry. Instead of focusing solely on grand gestures or external conflicts, the film industry is beginning to explore more personal, intimate stories that prioritize character development and emotional authenticity. When Life Gives You Tangerines served as a model for this shift, showing that sometimes the most impactful stories are those that reflect the quiet, tender moments of human connection and growth. But the film's influence extends far beyond the cinematic world. The powerful, universal themes of personal growth and healing have inspired countless viewers to reflect on their own lives. The story of Hae-joon and Won-suk reminds us that the journey of self-discovery is never easy, and that healing requires vulnerability and the willingness to confront our past. In a world often obsessed with instant gratification and surface-level solutions, the film's emphasis on the slow, often painful process of healing has sparked meaningful conversations about mental health, personal growth, and the importance of emotional vulnerability. For many, the film has become a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, healing is possible, and that the path to forgiveness and growth is one worth walking. Perhaps most notably, When Life Gives You Tangerines has created a sense of community. Fans from around the world have come together to discuss the film's themes, characters, and symbolism, sharing their personal interpretations of the story and how it has impacted their lives. In online forums and social media groups, the movie continues to spark passionate debates and heartfelt conversations. Fans have created art, written essays, and even hosted virtual watch parties to celebrate the film's message and the emotional journey it takes viewers on. This sense of shared experience and emotional connection is a testament to the film's power, not just as a piece of cinema, but as a cultural phenomenon that continues to resonate with people long after the credits have rolled. Looking to the future, When Life Gives You Tangerines will undoubtedly remain a cornerstone of cinematic storytelling. The film's delicate exploration of love, loss, and personal transformation will continue to inspire filmmakers and audiences for years to come. Its ability to make us feel, to challenge our perceptions of love and healing, and to remind us of the beauty in the quiet moments of life ensures that it will never lose its relevance. As new generations discover the film, they, too, will find solace in its tender embrace, experiencing the same deep emotional connection that has made it so beloved among those who have seen it. In conclusion, When Life Gives You Tangerines is not just a film. It is a powerful, transformative experience that transcends the screen. It speaks to our shared humanity, capturing the nuances of love, grief, and self-discovery in a way that is both deeply intimate and universally relatable. With its outstanding performances, stunning cinematography, and profound thematic depth, the film stands as one of the most significant cinematic achievements of the past decade. It will continue to inspire, challenge, and resonate with audiences for years to come. If you love this breakdown, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of cinema. Let's keep exploring movies together. Until next time, take care and keep embracing the magic of storytelling.